5, 4, 3.
Hey, everybody. Let me start that again.
Critters in Taiwan.
Hey, everybody. I'm Ben,
I'm Tim.
and we are Critters in Taiwan. Yay.
Welcome
Hey,
to
this is our
it.
first
Yeah.
episode, Tim.
First real
We're
episode.
live.
Yeah.
First real episode. That's right. So, just a quick programming note here. Campaign 3 has started, and so have we. This is going to be all spoilers. So if you're not caught up, if you don't know anything about Campaign 1 or Campaign 2 or Campaign 3 or anything Critical Role related, we will be spoiling everything. So here's your chance. Get out now.
Yeah. Also, if you haven't watched the first episode of Campaign 3, what the fuck is wrong with you? Get on it, turn this off and go.
Yeah, go watch it right now. We'll wait for you.
Yeah. Well, no, we won't, but you can come back.
I think they left. I think we're okay.
Okay. it's
Anybody
just
that
us
doesn't
now.
watch it as long, it's just us now. Yeah, there's nobody else here.
Cool. Cool.
Hey, and also if you want to contact us at any point, we'll repeat this at the end of the episode. But if you want to contact us, we are what are we here?
We're
CrittersInTaiwan at gmail.com. That's
One more
right.
time for clarity.
CrittersInTaiwan at gmail.com.
There we go. Yeah. It should be down
That's awesome.
in the comment area if you forget that super hard email.
Yeah, over there.
Yeah, so we got disclaimer, spoilers everything. We're gonna be swearing our asses off, especially if this particular thing comes up, and contact us if anyone's still there.
I think they've already all left.
Yeah.
All right,
and
so
we also have some way that we're going to start these things. You care to introduce that before we just forget about anyone else and just talk to each other?
That's right. I got here in my hand
I didn't see
shiny little D20.
Yeah.
We're gonna start these episodes off with rolling a D20 between each question or between each topic or between each whatever. I don't know.
I think we might trade off after the first one. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, we do whatever we want.
But color coded I am. Critical Role
hey.
shirt, my blue Matthew Mercer DM die, and
very nice.
Turns
very
out
nice.
when I'm streaming this thing gives me blonde hair, so I'm trying this out for a bit.
Oh, you're trying to blue screen out. I like it.
Yeah, the other side's green.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
So I've got the first D20 that I was gifted by a friend here in Taiwan. As I was saying to you earlier, my dice are all gone. So my original dice, the dice that I started with are gone to the winds. So I was gifted this dice by somebody. I don't know who, but it's the first D20 that I had here in Taiwan. So I'm gonna roll.
All right.
You ready to roll?
Yeah, sure. This is also the very first dice that I got in Taiwan because it's the only dice set that I have that I bought from. Hey, look at my color coding. Jesus Christ.
Look at you. It's just blue everywhere.
Just blue, just
cobalt soul blue everywhere.
Good Lord, look at my little
I got nothing.
My pencil.
I got my Mauritius shirt on.
Oh yeah. That looks like a homebrew.
It is. It's
okay.
It's my own. But it's anyway. All right.
Gets the point across.
Shall we roll?
We shall roll. First roll of Critters in Taiwan. Here we go. So the roll is for who chooses, who asks the first
begins?
or what?
Who begins with the first whatever? Or I guess you can choose. You get the choice if you want to pass or
roll higher. It's your choice, right? That's how I feel. All right, first roll.
3, 2, 1, go.
Right.
Oh dear.
Ooh, I'm all right. I got a 15.
I rolled a 3.
Ooh. I win first.
Yeah. You go. You win.
All right. Now, I think that we probably have some of the same things to talk about for campaign 3. Also
100% we do.
Yeah. So what I did for anybody watching is I went down to see Ben. So we watched in that room that you see behind Ben. He made these fucking kick-ass nachos, 3.5 pounds of fucking nachos, dude. And then we watched
my world famous D&D nachos. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Soon to be world famous. We're gonna have to show them on podcast sometime.
Mm-hmm.
So I went down there and we watched it together. So this is a little bit of a first one, starting off a little bit maybe not like the rest of the ones because we've already talked a ton about this. We've already watched it at your place like twice.
We watched it twice, and then I watched it a third time, and then
I'm about
more
80% through my third time that I just left that to come here. So we basically probably have the same things. The only differences might be of what we saw separately on Reddit, perhaps, or maybe Twitter's or something like that.
On the socials somewhere. Yeah.
Yeah. So I saw a few things on there. So I've got 3 things, and the one that just like was on the top of my head that I wouldn't mind discussing and maybe getting some of your opinion about, even though we talked a bit about it already, but I can't get it out of my head. The fucking complainers. I don't want to start on a negative note. I want to keep the smile on my face, but the complaining about this piece of art that's coming out. Yeah. I've got a lot of things to say about it, but since I get to go first, I'm asking you, how do you feel about the fucking backlash?
I'm a little disappointed. I feel that again, like you said, without getting too negative about it, there is a lot of hate is the wrong word, but it's an easy one to throw out there. There are people who are just fucking negative in this world and are looking for something to complain about. They didn't, we're going to talk about a lot of these details, but like the character choices for some of the players, the fact that I don't want to spoil too much here, but the fact that Travis didn't come in until the 2 and a bit hour mark. I've been reading a lot of negativity about the set, about the effects, it's too what the fuck? I know it's ridiculous. Too much. It's too digital. It's too big. It's too something. It takes away from the original feel of D&D.
Oh, for fuck's sake. When they moved into the second studio, when they had like the light changing, that very first episode, that monumental episode, it was changing. Everybody was like sitting there like, oh, it wasn't that big of a deal, but this is a new studio that they're all excited about. There's nothing. No one's going to pay attention to it next episode. Maybe. No. And it's just going to turn into one of those things that nobody notices anymore. And it's just like nobody comments on it, and it just adds to the feel of it.
I just think people are looking for something to complain about, and people don't like change. People are some people are very resistant to change. They
Not
don't
to alienate
like
anybody.
They don't like it. They feel that it should just be the same as before, and they just want the same and the same and the same because that's comfortable. It's a warm bath. It's a comfort food. It's mac and cheese. It's that. Or what was your comfort food growing up? Mine was grilled cheese and tomato soup. That was like one of the most comfortable things you could ever have on a cold winter night. Right? It was just amazing.
We got a lot in common, bud.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah. But it's like people don't want that change. Like, how dare you put tomatoes on my grilled cheese or bacon? Well, bacon, nobody can.
Always a lot of fun, man. Putting cheddar instead of American slices,
Sure. Like here's the thing. I think that people just look for something to complain about because they get to shout about it, especially on chat. And then the worst is they get a little what's that chemical that your brain makes? The
dopamine.
That's the one, the little dopamine kick when somebody gives them a little, oh, I read what you said and I am also offended. They get this little kick where it's a lot of trolls. I think it's a lot of trolls, but I think it's also a fair bit of people just complaining, just being negative and complaining and not liking what they're seeing. Like you called it a beautiful piece of art. That's what it is, and it should be viewed as such.
I didn't even rehearse that. That's just what it is.
It is what it is. That's why we've been watching the show for so long, because it is art.
There's a reason this isn't some other game. Yeah,
these are professional voice actors that are doing something that 99 point whatever % of the rest of the world can't do. They're like, it's incredible what they're doing.
I drew a little parallel when I told my because I'm trying to get my videographer friends involved, because he watched campaign 2 up until episode 25, and I was like, dude, you gotta see 26, and he watched it and he's like, oh shit, without spoiling too much. Now just another thing, like, we aren't just going to come out and spoil everything. We will try to preserve it a little bit, but be prepared. There's going to be spoilers, so
yes, absolutely.
So I'm not going to tell you what happens in that. I know but yes. And then he kind of stopped at that point, and I was like, hey, campaign 3's coming up, and then we saw it, so I got in touch with him. Long story short,
actually, on that note too, you definitely do not need to have watched campaign 1 or campaign 2 to watch campaign 3. Don't think that, because they full on start campaign 3, the first episode, with just going. Like, there is no continuation. It's a brand new campaign. There are a lot of things that we already know and a lot of stuff that is canon in the Critical Role universe, but you don't need to have watched the other ones. You can start fresh with campaign 3. In fact, I would almost recommend it, because it's if you've never watched it, watch where they are now. Then you can go back and see where they came from, and that's an amazing journey in itself.
Yeah, so, you kind of, I don't like to say it this way, but you kind of have to be a fan of them to go back and enjoy the first season,
right?
Or the first campaign.
The first campaign, that first episode of campaign 1, when they're in Craghammer and they start out, the quality is comical. It is. Yeah. The sound is terrible. They're screaming and yelling and eating chips and snacks and drinking, and it's absolute chaos, which is what D&D actually is. When you sit down, I just kicked my camera there. When you sit down and you actually play D&D, it is chaos. It is nonsense. Everybody's freaking out and everybody's having a great time and losing their minds at the table. And I just glanced over at my table, and I'm remembering the nonsense that's happened at that table and the joy and everything. It's fantastic.
And there's lots of that nonsense and chaos at every table in this current episode.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's wonderful. That's one of the great things about it. But yeah, the quality, to get past the quality, you kind of have to be a fan already. So don't start with campaign 1 if you haven't started already. No. Yeah, and campaign 3 is happening right now. So start with this one. And if you feel like it, go back and watch campaign 2 in the meantime, and then just catch up with the episodes. That's how both you and I started campaign 2.
Totally.
Or our entire fandom of the series,
of the whole thing. So going back to your original point about the negativity, one of the things that, it might as well talk about that right now, because the biggest piece of negativity I found across the board on all socials that talk about Critical Role is the inclusion of the 3 EXU characters, what were perceived as exclusively EXU characters. We're talking about Ashley Johnson as Fern, Liam O'Brien as Orem, and Robbie as Dorian. Dorian.
Is it Orem or Oren?
Or what did I say?
I think you said Orem. I don't know which one it is.
Orym, right? I'm pretty sure.
We could search it, but it's fine.
Whatever. We'll fact check us later if you feel like it.
Yeah.
But anyway, it doesn't matter. The point is, we know that Robbie is just a guest. He won't be sticking around for a prolonged series. He's probably just around for an arc right now, and then he's going to take off, which is fine. He's not a permanent cast member. People really got upset about that too, that he stepped in on the first episode as a guest. Like, how dare you have a guest on your first episode?
Yeah, how dare you make this first episode fucking cool?
Yeah, totally. One of the most amazing rookie players I've ever seen. Like, he played D&D a little bit, I think he said a little bit, and he sort of knew how to play. But he hadn't played much. Amy Cordera, she had never played before, but Robbie said he had played it. If you don't know what we're talking about an 8-episode mini series called Exandria Unlimited. Not a great little mini series. In our opinion, and widely regarded as not a great series. It was, anyway. We don't need to talk about it. That's not here or there. But we know Matt confirmed the day after, Friday, on Twitter. Matt Mercer confirmed that Fern and Orem were play tested in EXU for use in campaign 3. Liam and Ashley both created those characters with the full intention of running them in campaign 3. So anybody that's complaining about it is just plain wrong. It was their choice. It wasn't an accident. It wasn't like, the real characters are going to be shown at some point. No, those are the characters they chose. They play tested them through EXU, and they're using them in full capacity. And in my opinion, beautifully, wonderfully. I love Orem. I love Fern. I think they're amazing characters, and I'm really excited to see them.
Yeah, you and I both said after EXU, like the first thing we're like, they gotta bring Bobby in. He's gotta be a guest, like a
Totally.
recurring guest. He was so good in
Totally.
that.
So good
His
in it.
voice, dude. It's so
Mhm.
attractive. I just want to listen to
Yeah.
him do his characters all the time. Like the narrative telephone, too.
Yep.
Whew, both of them. It was just that
Yes.
guy, that
Yeah,
guy has a voice.
he exudes charisma, man, and that's why I'm glad he's playing a bard. Like it makes sense. He's
God, you didn't think about that.
a little
It's
bit of a
perfect.
hopeless bard. I mean, he's failed at a lot of the bard things he's tried to do, but that's what you do in the early levels, right?
Sure,
They're
yeah.
level 3 in this first episode, and they're level 1 and 2 in the EXU, and that's
Mhm.
what bards do. I know I've played bards; they fail a lot in the
Sure, but
early
they also
days. And they
try a
fail.
lot too.
Yeah, they also try a lot. They hone their skills as any true musician does.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
other negative things. What other negativity did you notice for the?
Let's see. So, Bertrand Bell.
Yes.
So, like coming in, like I think this has significantly less backlash from it because I'm pretty sure that we're all correct that it's a temporary character, like
we
Bobby's.
believe so. Yeah,
Yeah,
we believe so.
we believe so. I mean, like he was level 17, not 15, for the search for Grog. No, Bob. Which one? Both. He was in both, right? No.
Both. No,
Was he in both?
He was only in one.
He was the one with the tap dancing giant thing at the end. Was he for that one?
I don't
remember when Scanlan made him dance. He's like, "Is there a save?" He's like, "No, he just does it."
He just does it. Yeah,
And that big ass thing was just
I think Bertrand. I think Bertrand Bell was in both of them. I think he was.
We can fact that.
I have to go.
I
have to go back and watch. Yeah,
but he was like what 50 years old or something like that, and level 17, and then he comes into this one at level 5.
Level 5,
but like 80 years old.
But like an 80-year-old, which we said it makes sense, right? You're coming in as an older gentleman, a silver fox, as they like to call him. It makes sense that you would subtract levels and ability scores, etc. Still have the same. He has that that rapier, the gambler's rapier, or whatever it's called, which allows him to do some interesting things. But he still has the same abilities, the same skill set, but the ability scores have been lowered because of his age, and the levels have been. It's an interesting retcon. I mean, it's a fun thing to sort of do and say, okay, well, it's a funny thing. In one of my home games, the barbarian at the table got hit by a ghost a couple of times, if I remember right, and he aged, I think, 20 or 30 years.
Ooh.
Human. So he went from 20 up into his 40s. I something like that. It was a really fascinating thing that happened, and the player was forced to sort of play him like a middle-aged barbarian. It was really interesting.
Huh.
Yeah. So you often wonder how DMs and players, D&D players, how they handle age. I don't know.
It's fun to watch, you know.
It was really fun to watch. And like we said, we know Travis isn't going to fucking play this character for the whole campaign. He can't. It's impossible. In fact, I have a feeling he might end up getting killed in this second episode. I
just feel it in my bones, man. I mean, he's already old. It's like if we're predicting is true, he was at 17, now he's at 5. Like when they all go to level 4, if he's still alive, does he stay at 5? Does he go to 6? Does he go back down to 4? Or is he gone before that happens?
I think he disappears and Travis's quote unquote real character shows up. That's
it'd be so funny if he dies of natural causes.
Yeah, dies in his sleep.
Like
that would
he doesn't wake up.
Be amazing. It'd be amazing. Yeah.
Then fresh cut grass would probably do everything it could to get him back.
Let's talk about that. Okay. Let's talk about Sam Riegel for a quick second. This motherfucker. Every time.
Oh, wait.
Every time.
Let's hold on for that for a second. I told my videographer friend about it. Yep. And I made the parallel where I told him I was trying to speak photography and videography terms. So I was like, imagine if you took a picture of something and somebody said, I don't like it. It should have been like shutter speed 250, but you did 500. It's like, what are you going to do? Why are you bitching about it? That's kind of like, and he was like, holy shit, are you kidding me? They're doing that? Like, look at Reddit, dude. Go to the fucking thing and just, not everybody, of course. I don't want to make it sound like everybody's fucking bitching and complaining about it. But yeah, just to get upset about the way that somebody chooses to do their art piece is just beyond absurd to me. I don't understand. It just leaves my jaw. You know, it makes no sense.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things that are happening in the world right now. We're again, like we're in Taiwan, we're critters in Taiwan. We're sort of away from things a little bit right now, right? We're aside of it, or outside of it all. So where the big culture wars, I don't like calling it that, but whatever is happening in the West is mostly what's happening with a lot of the stuff that we're talking about, and we're removed from it being over here. So it's a little bit different. But yeah, you're right. It is interesting to. I don't know.
Like if somebody gets upset, like if I change this shit to green next week and somebody says, fuck this podcast, I'll be like, good riddance, get out of here.
Yeah.
Don't want you.
Don't have the time.
I might just do it. I might go green next week, fuck it. Get this shit on
here. There you go. Yeah.
I'm going to get a different book. Who cares?
That's probably a terrible idea to wear a green face mask like that. Someone will end up putting vampire fangs on you or something.
Oh, that's not so bad, actually. Do I have a blue one? I don't have a blue one. Yeah. All right. Anyway, so I got that out. Okay. Let's talk. Wait, what you had something? You brought something up.
Fresh cut grass.
Fresh cut grass.
That's what this is one of the things I really want to talk about. I mean, this fucking guy. We know that
Sam Riegel, we're talking about.
Yeah, we're talking about Sam. We know that Liam chose the character for him, or the race and maybe class. I think he said he only chose race. I'm not sure.
Did they confirm?
Liam confirmed it.
Okay.
That he chose he said he chose the character, so it makes me think that maybe he did choose the race and class. I don't know. It's a complete homebrew. I mean, we have in this campaign we have 2 homebrews, 3 kind of if you count the Fern as a satyr. But
you know more about that than I do.
Yeah, well, I've done a lot of deep diving into these 7, 8 people. So I'm 100% sure that fresh cut grass is, if you don't know what we're talking about, Sam Riegel is one of the actors, arguably the funniest voice actor at the table. And his previous characters were a gnome bard. His next one was a goblin rogue / halfling rogue. And his newest character for campaign 3 is a goddamn robot. A fucking robot
named Fresh
Cut Grass. It's I don't even know what to say about this. Also, we have Warforged in 5th edition and other editions. Pathfinder has their own version of steampunk stuff, and there are those things. But we're not really sure what this is. He hasn't really said if it's an automaton, if it is a.
It's an automaton, I think.
I don't know.
I don't think he did. I thought he did. We'll have to fact check that.
Yeah. It's definitely not an Aeorian, which is what we thought it might be. But it's definitely a homebrewed class, a homebrewed race as a robot, and also a homebrewed class, because he plays the cleric, and those the spells that he was casting, his channel divinity, which was sympathetic binding, is not in any rule book I've been able to find.
And then the other one that Laura did previously, I don't know what it was, but something to do with like trying to read thoughts or something like that, or telepathy.
I found that one.
You did?
I did.
In the cleric class?
No, sorcerer. She's playing in a aberrant. I wrote it down. Aberrant mind sorcerer.
Okay. But what about
took some deep digging?
Grass?
No, completely homebrew. We don't know anything about that one. That one is all Matt Mercer and Sam's. I'm guessing. My theory is that there are new books coming out for D&D. WotC has new books coming out, and they're play testing some of the classes, much like they did in Campaign 2 with Talison's Mollymock Tea Leaf, the Bloodhunter class. This was when Matt had just developed the Bloodhunter class, and Talison was play testing it as Molly. Yeah. I think they're doing the same thing. I think that he's got a robot idea, or a cleric idea. And this is the cleric that he a domain that he's playing around with.
It fits so nicely too, and also like the last campaign, Bo was doing she was of something of the Cobalt Soul.
The way of the Cobalt.
Way of the Cobalt Soul, right? Path Way the
I
Cobalt Soul,
forget what
something
they're
like
called.
that.
Monks have
The
their own
homebrew.
nomenclature.
And
Yep.
like I think that was one of those things that people bitched about for the third campaign as well. Was that like, wait, you're just starting a new class and stuff for the start of the third campaign? It's like, yeah,
Yeah.
it's a fucking game, dude.
It's a game.
It's fine.
It's a game. It's playtest.
Checking it out. And they changed the rules for the Cobalt Soul, along the way. She was like, oh, I lost this because we had to adjust things because it was getting a little bit too, it's fine.
It totally made sense. Everything about that change made sense. It was, they tried one thing, and that's what playtesting is. You try something, it doesn't work, you fix it, and you move on.
If it happens to be live that week, fucking so be it. It's fine. It's a goddamn game. Sorry, I don't want to get back to that negative shit, but it's still sitting right there. It's like, what the fuck is wrong with you? It's a great game.
I know.
Yep. Anyway, so fresh cut grass.
Yeah, fresh cut grass. Like let's
homebrew
like that
class. Homebrew everything. I think
homebrew everything at this point. We don't know my favorite. I mean, the joke. I mean, should we say the joke about where the name came, the etymology of that name, where it came from?
I mean, if you want to, yeah.
No, I'm not even gonna bother. It's not even. It's just, if you watch it, there's Sam Riegel has these moments in every campaign, about every 3 or 4 episodes, 5 episodes maybe, where he makes the entire table cry with laughter and uncontrollable. Matt usually has the biggest face palm. Sam had Matt's hands to his face several times in this episode because of this character. Just brilliant. Absolutely everything about it was just amazing. Just absolutely brilliant. I loved every second of it. It was amazing.
Yeah. Sitting back and just watching it.
Can't talk highly enough about what he did and what Sam always does. I mean, we've known from, everybody has known from campaign 1 to campaign 2 and into campaign 3 now for the one shots. I mean, when he ran the Crash Pandas one shot, and the infamous that made it to air and then got deleted and can only be found on some YouTubes, the Wendy's one shot, which I've still only seen the first half. Oh, it's so good. It's so good.
It didn't work after the break.
So good.
I got some responses from people saying they got the same, that didn't work after the break. Something about Sam, like after the first campaign where he played the gnome bard, and like his inspirations, whoever's choice it was, that he actually he was required, not really, but required by somebody, perhaps himself, to actually do something to inspire. And like, they couldn't just be like, oh, and I'm going to give you inspiration. It's like, no, fuck off. What are you going to do? Like between Matt and him. And people, like when that campaign was over and campaign 2 was going to start, looking back at some of these interviews and conversations, so like, how's he going to compete with that? And the thing is, Sam's not competing with anything. It's still Sam. It doesn't matter which game or what he's going to be in. It's still going to be Sam. And like in the second campaign, it wasn't a bard. He didn't sing anymore, but he was still fucking Sam the entire time, and hilarious.
If you remember in campaign 2, episode 1, when they're in the circus tent, the very first thing he does is sing a song as a goblin rogue. He sings the worst rendition of what is that I Will Always Love You song, in the carnival, in the big top at the he sings a song, and then Liam was like, he's killing Scanlan, he's putting it away. And it was a very, very clever moment. I thought, I mean, every moment, there's very few mistakes that Sam makes that are that in RP, very few RP mistakes. Sam makes mistakes in combat occasionally, but he doesn't make mistakes with RP, or very rarely with RP. Everything he does is well thought out and quick. I think he's just got a very quick mind, very agile mind.
Yeah, and that's not going away. He's not nearly old enough for that shit
example
to go away.
Of this. I mean, everything. I love that the conversations that him and Taliesin must have had when they were, because those two characters, Talison's character and Sam's character, come into the campaign 3 together, and the fact, like, that offhand comment where that they make about, oh yeah, hey, letters, what are you doing? One of those kind of things. And you're like, letter, oh, FCG, I get it. Fresh cut grass, it's fucking amazing.
I thought he was talking about a drug. Like, is there any,
I didn't know. I had no idea what they were talking about.
He just woke up and he's like, what do you do? Wake and bake, right? And I was like, what the hell is this? And when I listened with the headphones, like on my balcony just today. The laughter on the side is so much more prevalent because it's right here in your head. You can pick out who's laughing and
Yep.
for how long.
Yep.
You can actually hear a little conversation over there,
Oh,
which they
really?
might
I'll
have
have to give
gotten like
that
a little bit like you can't really make out what it is, but it's
okay,
just
but
like
you
you
can
can
hear
hear
them. They're
Liam going like,
chatting about stuff.
you know.
Ah,
It
all
was
right, all right, all right.
it was hilarious. It's like I watch Two Bears One Cave. It also comes out every Tuesday, and they've got this guy who does their sound and their video and all that shit. He laughs very easily, and his laugh is infectious. But he's kind of in the back, you know. He's not mic'd up, but it reminded me of that, where it's inviting. That's not the word I'm looking for, but I'm going to stick with it. It's
Sure.
nice, you know, hearing them
Yeah,
off to
it's
the side.
comfortable.
I
Right.
I don't
Right.
know. Oh, that was one I didn't write down. Um, I'll say it right now. If they might be doing that kind of a thing in the future and how you might feel about that, as far as, you know, like, can you just go sit on the side so it's just us? Because I think they're
Ah,
not going to do that anymore because we're after the first episode. I think that was just so
well,
people could focus on it and there was nobody else at the table to focus on. That's what I thought.
yeah,
That's what I still think.
I really enjoyed that. I thought it was a really clever move to
I loved
just
it. It was great.
have the campaign start with just Marisha and Laura at the table with their two characters having a conversation in the gondola on the way up to the Star Point, whatever it's called, the Star Point Academy.
Is that Luna down there?
Conservatory. No, I was looking at my notes. She's
Oh.
wandering around somewhere. There it is, the Star Point Conservatory. When they were wandering up, when they were taking the cable car up, and that's the way they started. Then they stayed at the table when Taliesin and Sam's character gets introduced, and then they all stay at the table when Robbie and Liam and Ashley's characters all get introduced, which were the EXU characters. And then later on, they're all at the table, and then Sir Bertrand comes running in for when the combat is has just begun. I don't know. In campaign 2, when Ford was having his nightmares or his dream sequences with Ukatoa, when they were having those dream sequences, Matt made everybody leave the table for the first few of those. And when Marisha was doing her training with who was her mentor again? The elf, Dyron. When Matt asked everyone to leave the table, I think he'll still do that. I think it's a
I remember that because of this game.
Hey,
there's a section called Dyron in here. Somebody's a critter.
No kidding.
Sorry.
Or Matt chose it based on that. Who knows?
This came out like 2 weeks ago.
Oh, really? Oh, it's not that Dyron isn't an actual. Oh, okay. Cool. Yeah. So yeah, I think Matt will keep. I think they will keep doing that. I hope they do that because it's a nice way of doing things where you're sort of like, okay, we need you guys to leave because this is sort of a personal moment that's going to happen with just this character. So I hope they continue that.
Well, that's the difference, though, because
you mean if they're going to start episodes that way?
No. I mean that, like, this one, they're just sitting right there. They're just off camera. They're not separated from the material.
Right.
They're just sitting right there. So the attention's just on Laura and Marisha.
Right. So it's solely for the audience. That's an audience.
Just to get us focused on them. And like you and we were just sitting there.
I'm good. I'm really good with that. I mean, if they're right beside the camera, just off camera or in another room, so they're away from it and it's a secret, I'm good with both. I think it's a great device. It's a great way to fully engage the audience and really immerse the players, that even the ones that aren't there, that don't get to react. They get to watch it when they go home, I suppose, but they don't get to react in the moment because they haven't seen it. I'm good with both.
Right. And the player with all the pressure on them, that's huge for them too. I mean, listen to anybody who has those one-on-one moments with Matt. They're sitting there like, oh shit. Totally. Okay. And then like when he says like Ford, and he's like, fuck. And like everybody leaves and he's sitting there just like, I guess we'll try swallowing the sword, you know, like for that person, when everybody's gone instead of next to the table, that's huge for them. And then if, like you said, they can just go back and watch it and then come back to the next episode and just don't metagame because, you know, they don't, that's one of the rules, don't metagame.
They don't anymore. We've talked about this many times. Those early episodes in campaign 1, the metagaming was off the charts.
Oh yeah.
Off the charts.
You mentioned Matthew's fucking patience in those games and I didn't realize it. That's huge. When you send me those timestamped spots, and I'm just like,
I was paying in those early episodes because I recently went back. I told you this. I recently went back and watched the entire Briarwood arc because that is probably going to be the Legend of Vox Machina's starting point, or that's going to be the first season of Legend of Vox Machina, the Briarwood arc. Although they did say the first 2 episodes are going to be backstory stuff. Anyway, I went back and watched it, and those are episodes like 26 to 30 something. It's about a 10, 12 episode arc. And the metagaming is ridiculous. It is just, Matt several times, he even says, he's like, you're treading on thin ice here, guys. Please don't do this. You don't know this is happening. It's multiple times where it's very, very clear that's
it's pretty heavy, and they don't do it a whole lot. And it's also, once again, it's just a game. It's fine, but man, Matthew's patience, as soon as you mention
legendary,
it, like,
legendary.
I mean,
to this day, his patience is legendary. It's just, I talked about this in our previous episode, the intro episode, that watching him and the way that he handles players' questions and complaints, and the panic and the delight and the confusion, the way that he handles it should be a bar that all DMs sort of step up to and try and emulate in many ways. I'm not fucking talking about the Matt Mercer effect here. I'm talking about looking at the way that he does things and emulating one of the top DMs in the world right now, and just being like, that's the way to handle an insight check. That's the way to handle a player fucking up their combat economy, like not understanding the rules of a spell and then going, oh, can I retcon that? I don't want to do it. Then it's like, no, I'm sorry, you've already cast the spell.
You said it.
Not
sorry,
being a dick
late
about it, and you've already done it. Not to be a dick, not to be like, it's just, I've played with a lot of DMs that don't handle situations like that very well, and played with DMs that have handled the situation very well. But it's something to sort of look at, that Matt's legendary patience is just a thing of beauty sometimes.
It really is. Yeah. I remember one time, I'm pretty sure it was campaign 2. I timed one of Laura's moves, and it was something like over 3 minutes, something like that, where it's like, isn't it like 10 seconds or something like that? You're supposed to know what you're going to do.
6 seconds.
Well, I know in game it's a 6-second turn, right? But you have a certain amount of time you should know what you're going to do.
Yeah, you should know.
Change,
I mean,
you had to change what you're doing, of course.
Yeah.
I remember
Matt often says,
I want to, should I do this or should I? It's like, he's like, what are you doing, Laura? That tone.
Like on my table over here, I've got my initiative tracker, and I always set it up. I'm usually in charge of it, and I set up the initiative tracker so players can know when it's my turn.
Oh, you have it on display or something?
I have it. It's right over there on the table. Yeah.
Shit, I didn't see it. There.
Oh, I should have shown it to you. Yeah, it's got and it's got replaceable character names on it. And
nice.
That I find that initiative tracker really, really helps. But one of the things Matt does, he always does, is he's like, okay, Fern, you're up, and Orem, you're on deck. Yeah. And then that should give the next player sort of like, okay, what am I doing here? I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. I'm going to blah, blah, blah. And they're going through their things. But yeah, you're right. I mean, in a well-run game, you shouldn't take more than about a minute to get your things done, barring any unforeseen circumstances. Like I want to cast this, but I really don't know what it does. Can I take a quick minute to Google it, or just to look in the player's book, or figure out what this is? It's like, situations do change from turn to turn. So if it's one player's turn, then he or she might do something that completely changes what you wanted to do on your turn. And it does require a little bit of thinking, and sometimes that can take some time.
Yeah, sure. Tons of examples of that. Not even worth getting into them, but it can change every time.
Talk all night about that. Sure.
Yeah.
Hey, can I bring up a quick thing here? I've been dying to bring up.
Yeah, sure.
Talking about, I think we're kind of done with Fresh Cut Grass. I mean, we could talk about him for hours, but I would also like to talk about Fresh Cut Grass's partner, confidant, whatever his Caleb to his not.
Ashton.
Yeah, Ashton. Yeah. Another homebrew. It
was a breath of fresh air, is what that was for me. I was sitting there a little nervous about Talison's new character, and
everybody, man, I was cringing. I'm like, please, Talison, please don't fuck this up. And he didn't. He fucking delivered with flying colors.
So well.
I mean, this Earth Genasi barbarian, homebrew path, which
Gravity
is
or whatever.
we don't know. It's a weird.
Yeah.
There's some
It's like I chose the path of
weird
gravity or something like that. And it's like,
I don't know.
what the fuck
But
is that? Let's go. Let's see it.
carrying around that big glass hammer with the what did he call it? A chaos burst. And then and I caught something. Matt says when Taliesin says, "Okay, I'm gonna chaos surge that," and then Matt says chaos burst. And Talison's like, "Oh yeah, okay, chaos burst." And then Matt says something, and then he says fundamental chaos. So there are some clues about what the class might actually be, or the archetype of this barbarian class might be.
The subclass,
the archetype. It's
okay.
It's very interesting. I have this weird feeling about dunamancy, man. I think that because if you remember one of Essex, is like gravity well and the shifting of time and space and doing that. I wonder if they're not throwing in a little bit of now that sort of the Aeorians have been put into the world and there's more like arcane stuff going on and there's dunamancy everywhere because the Cerberus Assembly is more aware of it, and who the fuck knows what's going on. That they're bringing in another realm of magic for us to freak out about. I don't know.
Like who knows?
But I just think,
like, how did he get that damage? And I can imagine like the gold stuff is just scars from previous fucking shit. It could be a bar fight. Who knows?
Yeah, for all we
know.
Like
this one here seems important, especially the eye, because like that seems like a pretty hefty thing.
Well, we were saying the 3D imagery or the animated imagery behind him, behind the character art with the meteors going by, and the what that symbolizes, or if there is even any symbology.
If there is any, it could just be he's an Earth Genasi, so it's just meteorites, whatever. It's fine.
But going back to his actual character and the personality of him, it's that the jacket, with the just don't on the back, and all of the little touches that he's got, the language and his attitude. He's like super money hungry and I'll do anything for gold. I'm a true mercenary, which will change, I'm sure, a little bit, but just phenomenal work by Taliesin. Again, like you said, we kind of agreed on this. I mean, Percy was a fun character to watch. Molly was a fun character to watch, but not played very well. Caduceus was incredible. Caduceus is Caduceus was so good that he caused me to emulate him and run a cleric, Path of the Grave.
Nice.
Like a grave cleric. Yeah, it was just because I loved the way Caduceus like debuffed combat situations and the way that he handled role playing. That I wanted to I was like, that's a really fun way to run a cleric. Very sort of counterintuitive to a battle medic, but I mean, still being a healer, but also the buff debuff sort of aspect of running things I really enjoyed.
Yeah, he was like support all the way. I mean, like it's
support
hard to
all the way.
Kind of hard to remember what he did. Like he had spiritual weapon, that's how he did damage. And then other than that, he had the bugs also. His
beetles. He had the spirit guardians was another
guardians.
One.
Thank you.
He had he baned and blessed a lot.
Yeah, he was.
But he also had that early or in the mid levels. He got that shield of retribution, which would keep everything away from him. If they hit him, he could blast them with that shield, and they would get knocked off and knocked away, and it would do damage as well. But it would keep the enemies away from him.
I think at one point he used his staff to hit something once.
Yeah, because he had no choice. I think it was,
like
once. Once, one time.
Like I really can't think of anything. It'll come back to me because I'm watching a campaign 2 in
the true definition of a support character. Just really well and well played, and a great character, like a great literal character. Like he was that voice, the low gravelly voice, and
so natural for Taliesin.
So natural. And it looks like Ashton is going to be similar. It looks like Ashton is going to be a character that Taliesin is very comfortable with, which I think is, we said, keep it in your wheelhouse, and he's clearly doing that.
Yeah.
I
was nervous about that, but he was great. I can't wait to see more of that. I wonder if they would ever do a campaign without a barbarian. Another thing to bitch about. Like I wouldn't fucking care. That'd be great.
No, they've got. I mean, with him as a barbarian and Orem as a fighter, which is they've never had a fighter before, which I thought was really interesting. The bread and butter of OG D&D was the fighter class. It was like every party had to have one, and they never did. I mean, okay, yes, fine. Percy was technically a fighter, was a fighter class, but a gunslinger. Never, he hit things with his sword occasionally, but it was a gunslinger first and foremost.
Very
not
little, yeah.
really a fight. I mean, whatever, you can bitch and moan, but Orem is actually a board and a sword and board guy. Like that's what he does.
Yeah, and with the halfling racial trait, he can reroll ones for damage, right?
I know.
This
Like
guy's
reroll
gonna
any
do some-
ones for anything.
Anything.
Only on the 20. Only on the 20. Like on the 20, he can reroll any natural one.
Oh, right. I'm
saving
confusing
throw,
that with
an attack, ability check, whatever he wants. They can reroll ones once,
right?
And whatever they get, they have to take.
Right. Well, it's better than a one, hopefully.
Unless you roll another one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Double fail. Yeah. I'm looking forward to that. How about fucking Laudna, man?
Okay.
Good
Bellatrix
Lord.
Lestrange.
Yeah. The way that Marisha played that character was so engrossing. So engrossing.
Fucking aces. Aces. Marisha was when I go back and look at campaign 1 and I watch her play Keyleth, originally I cringed a lot. Going back and watching it, I'm not cringing as much. I didn't realize a lot of things, how lawful good she was, how much of the voice of reason that Keyleth actually was. And that party was so fucking chaotic that it got lost in a lot of things. I also didn't like Bo very much in the beginning. I found Bo to be sort of meh, just a bitchy, whiny, sort of annoying, grumpy character. But then that changed a lot too.
And then Caleb came around, and then you changed your tune.
Yeah, sure. Like, oh no, there's even darker thunderclouds here. Yeah. No, but like, let's talk about Laudna. Like, that's what.
What was that in campaign
amazing.
2? It's like when Bo stood next to Ford seemed really happy or something like that. Like that's why they hung out all the time. I don't remember. Maybe it was Caleb. I'm not sure. Yeah, but Laudna, dude. One thing that you mentioned about the first campaign in one of our previous chats was about Keyleth. Used to cringe about it sometimes, but then I didn't know the characters. I didn't know the actors at that point, so I just thought it was just Marisha being Marisha.
Right.
You know, which is what a lot of people assumed at that first game was like people were just playing characters that were pretty close to themselves. And then when you get to know them, especially in campaign 2, where they all completely change their characters wildly, you go back and be like, dude, they're acting those characters. No, that's not Marisha. That's a character. And like, that's Marisha when I stopped cringing.
Yeah, Marisha has that thing about her where she tends to she gets excited in those early episodes. She gets excited, and the Marisha comes out. The awkwardness, the little cringy stuff that she will sometimes say, and it does pop out every once in a while. There's a lot of rumors about the Kraken episode in where she's doing her Arashari. I can never pronounce that.
The Aramente.
Aramente, thank you. In the Kraken fight, there's a lot of rumors when that happened because she made a lot of mistakes in that episode.
That was a shit show, man.
It was a shit show.
Towards the end,
there's a lot of rumors. There's a lot of rumors that there was a lot of alcohol involved that session.
Oh,
and there was. I remember reading about it and people commenting on it that they had been drinking a fair bit. Maybe not even a fair bit, but there was a lot of tiredness going on. They'd been burning the candles at both ends. There was some drinking involved, and it got the better of them. Mistakes were made. I think I read a post somewhere where Marisha posted that she left that episode in tears for like 2 days. It was just there was something. Don't quote me on that, but there's a clicking out something in my memory banks here about that. I'm not using it as an excuse, but there are extenuating circumstances that we have to sort of think about and realize that these are humans. They're not robots. They're not gods. they're not gods, as Marisha also famously found out. But yeah, let's get out of that. I get out of that headspace.
Sure, yeah. Let's get back on Laudna. We haven't heard
Laudna.
She stole the show for me personally.
Good. Yes, I can't agree with you more. There are moments when we're just in awe of what she did. I mean, go ahead.
Yeah. like yeah, I mean, a few instances are coming up in my head when she turns and asks who's sitting to her left.
Ashley to her left. No, Ashley's to her right. To her left is
Oh, it's Sam.
yes, it is Sam.
Yeah,
Yeah, Sam and then Tallison. Yeah.
I remember like after the battle or something like that. I don't remember exactly when it was, and I don't remember what the question was. So maybe it's a bad example, but her acting for it or like her response, she asks a question. He's like, "So what are you?" or something like that, and he's like, I'm a robot," and she's like, "Yes," and just like turn, just leaves it alone, and she's just
Yeah.
like, I was like, "Oh, you're just
So
oozing with
dismissive.
talent right now." Like it was
Yeah.
incredible. So the tiny little
So
moment
good.
like that, but it was so
Mm-hmm.
like Marisha, you're
Yeah.
slaying this. This is amazing. I'm
Quick
such a
little
fan
like
of that character. Right now, if you can choose favorites, that's my favorite. I can't wait to see
mm,
where it is. She's got
yeah,
a pretty transparent background or what she is, because
yeah.
there's not a lot of secrets around her. We're gonna figure
No.
it out pretty quick.
I did some digging and I found out what her class is. We
Okay,
don't know. They on the screen they said sorcerer warlock,
right.
but the sorcerer unknown, because she didn't use any sorcerer abilities. But the warlock is very well known. There's only one that can do that transformation, and they do it at second level. I forget the name of it now. I thought I wrote it down, but I
Come
didn't.
on, man. You're the
That
one for
that
that stuff.
I know. I forgot
I'm
to
the
write
one
it
for
down. My bad.
remembering shit. You're the one
Yes,
for knowing new shit. Come on.
she's an undead warlock.
Okay.
It's meaning her patron is undead, which is where it's. I mean,
The
her
stone
saying,
things, the cats, the children.
"Yep." Spoiler alert here. She says she's from Whitestone.
Yeah.
We're I'm convinced. I don't know. I think you are too. That Lady Delia Briarwood is her patron.
I'm
It's
not convinced.
I am. I am. I can just I have this feeling. I have this feeling.
Because
Think
she
she's a
says she's from
Derolo?
there initially. She was like
Yeah.
initially Whitestone, and then she kind of
Yeah.
leaves it there.
You think I think she's a Derolo, who's been corrupted by Delilah Briarwood.
I think
That's
so
my
too. Except
that's
there's
my
one
guess.
little detail that she said she had like a raven's skull on a little rat skeleton or something like that.
Oh yeah.
And I think
Right,
she
right,
said I
right.
made that myself, but then also or something like that. But also she gave like a little Keyleth gave Percy a little raven's head. She's
Hmm.
like, I don't know if this means anything, and it's like, oh, it's a little macabre. She's
Could be
like,
a
yeah,
could be a
sorry.
Raven Queen thing. Could be. I
Well, I'm just
mean
saying,
it.
like that little skull could have been from
Yep.
Percy's room. Just another little tie into Whitestone that but also there's a little rat part of it. But also I think she said she made it herself, but there was no rat attached to it before.
Oh man.
So I don't know. Just one of those little things. It's like
Yeah.
Whitestone, that's making a little sense. And then
Mm-hmm.
Briarwood, I'm not convinced. I think this got merit, but I'm not convinced yet. I don't want to believe that. That's why.
Fair enough.
Because
I
she seems too happy.
Yeah, man. The Helen Bonham Carter, Bellatrix Lestrange acting that she did in that first episode is just from Harry Potter, right? You've
Yeah.
have you seen what the reference there, right? Yeah.
Yep.
So that whole vibe that she's giving out, sort of the Addams Family, Morticia sort of vibe, that it's just drawing on so many gothic horror tropes. It's beautiful.
She
Just
does
a thing
such
of
a good
beauty.
job.
Yeah.
So good.
Quick little sidebar into that with her partner, Imogen. Laura unusually, uncharacteristically, on the side for a lot of the episode, withdrawn a little bit.
Which was another one of those
Because
stupid fucking things that people bitched about. It's like, come on.
yeah,
Again,
it's
not going
it's
negative. I'm not going negative.
it's inevitable that something like that is going to happen.
Of course, it's a new
Um,
game.
it's a brand new. It's the first episode of campaign 3. It's inevitable. I thought her character is. I think her character is very well thought out. I think there's a lot of depth. We're gonna find out a lot of things about her. But yeah, we mostly on the sidelines for a lot of this episode. Very quiet, very reserved, very in the background, which is completely fine. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. In a similar vein, Fern Calloway, also
Oh yeah.
in the background a little bit. Although her moments, I mean Ashley's moments, as Fern came flying in with her alienness as a fae creature, just the again, we talked about this also, the brilliance of Ashley playing this character, this creature from another plane of existence, so completely unaware of cultural norms and societal like trends and how things work in civilized lands. Just beautiful.
Yeah.
Adjectives escape me for that one. It's
And
watching her just so good.
I missed it, or maybe it wasn't specified, but I know that Keyleth gave them money, the three EXU characters,
Mhm.
enough money to get a one-way trip on an airship to Marquette
From Iman
from
to
Iman.
what's the place name? Jurassar.
God, I just
I
listened to
wrote it
it.
down.
It's right here.
Jursar.
Dressar.
It's a tough one. Jusar.
Yeah,
Jursar.
Dressar.
Ugh.
Dressar.
My tongue doesn't like saying that one. Jursar.
So, all right. So, and then I don't remember if it was Keyleth who chose them or if it was Orem that chose who went with him. Because like Opal couldn't do it. She was figuring shit out with her sister.
And the crown
Dariax
and
was
the crown of thorns thing, that the
right. There's that too,
vestige.
which probably
Yep.
will come up later. I don't know
Well,
if I'm
Matt,
excited about seeing Amy in there, but you know,
I'd like to see Dariax reprised. It'd be fun to see that. But Matt said that he's keeping an eye on the vestige as well, so we may or may not
right.
see him.
So
It'd be
like,
fun
I
to
don't
see him. I don't think we will.
it was Oren. Well, I actually don't know. I'll just say I don't know after watching it with you and by myself here that if it was Keyleth or him or Orem that chose who came with him.
Well, don't believe it was said, but it may have been. But I don't believe so. I think it was more a matter of, well, there's somebody's got to go with you. So
Yeah.
how about the people that are with you?
And then Fern, like I don't want to rank anything. Like Marisha stole the show for me. And I'm just gonna leave it at that. But Ashley playing this was so fucking terrific. Like the look on her face, she just looks like she is reacting in the same way that a Fae character would in the prime material. She's just like, you know, it reminds me of Mass Effect. I don't know if you ever played that game, but they had this. Yep. You did. And when when Shepard is talking, and then your crew is back there, the other person starts talking, and then they go, you know, and then you start talking again, and they go. Just a second later, this is what Ash is doing. She's sitting there and like somebody over there starts talking. She waits like a quarter second, then goes so calmly, like a little blink and just like, oh, so you're not going to answer my question then? Like she's doing a brilliant job of this. I'm glad that she got the play test at EXU, you know, because she's got it now, you know.
When I watched EXU, I was like, I remember commenting several times about how good this character was and how well she was playing it. Like I remember thinking, oh, I really hope she doesn't abandon this. Or I remember thinking it's a shame that she's going to abandon this character for campaign 3, because this should have been her. This should be her character for campaign 3. And
hey, look at you go. Controlling the universe over there.
It's so good, man. Like the alien nature of her. There's just that weird. Nothing really makes sense. There's that moment in EXU I'm very excited will transfer into campaign 3 when she wild shaped into the dire wolf and savagely ripped that dude's head off.
That's right.
Just relished in the bloodlust of the dire wolf. It was so gory and graphic and I mean, and Fern comes out of it just completely unscathed, like a normal Fae would. Like, oh yeah, life and death. This is just part of life. It's part of existence. Life and death.
She's like playing. She's like playing with Monopoly money over there. She's like, "What is this? That doesn't matter. It's fine." It's like, Jesus, Fern. She's like, "What? Oh, you don't like blood? Like, you know, like, just okay. Let's just move on."
It's so good.
Wonderful. Who else is out there? We got Bertrand Bell. Are we forgetting anybody?
Orem a little bit. I mean, we have a quick little mention about. We talked about Orem a little bit. I think I just go back. I mentioned briefly about the fighter, the sword and board. He's gone. It looks like he's gone Battle Master, which is in my opinion, one of the best fighter archetypes because of the maneuvers that they get. And I wrote down the series they get. I looked this up. There's 23 battle maneuvers that battle masters get. And he's shown us the 3 that I saw, I think, including EXU, were bait and switch, which is a fun one because you get to switch places with somebody, fainting attack, which gives a AC bonus to another player, another character, something. I forget what the fainting
battle.
attack does.
Yeah.
He did that one in the battle against the animated objects, and the goading attack. Oh, the fainting attack at everybody, and everybody was laughing about that. Like, oh, it's a fainting table.
Right.
They were all fainting. There was that fun moment. But the goading attack also is the one that he did, where if the sword, I think the long sword, I think, gets disadvantage on, and if it tries to attack anybody else, gets disadvantage on all attacks.
Nice.
Just a fun little sort of. Oh, the battle master, and Liam playing a tiny little halfling with those boots of springing and leaping, jumping, whatever those boots are called, able to jump 10 feet up in the air with his little flips and dancing around like a little, I don't even know, like Sonic the Hedgehog, zipping around, collecting coins and smashing bad guys. It's going to be really fun to watch.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I don't have a lot to say about that character just because it seems very well established, and I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be a very solid character, lots of damage done, and it's Liam. It's going to be great role play. It's going to be great RP.
Totally.
Right in his wheelhouse. Quiet, brooding.
He's going to be but also I think Orum's also very positive. I think he's finally playing a very positive character who has a very, very positive outlook on life. Like this, this is bad news, guys. I think we need to make this better. So it's as opposed to like Vax, who was very fucking angry about it, sullen about everything, and with Caleb, who was completely traumatized and in many ways a broken character.
Yeah, and I think Caleb was neutral the whole time, right? He was never evil, but he was never good. He was like, well, I'll burn them if you want me to burn them. I can't do the accent. It was like, I have no problem with burning them and killing them, but are you sure this is what you want to do? It's like, I'll fucking murder these people, but
a rebuilt character, right? Like shattered and broken and then rebuilt, with a lot of
that
those
story. To be unraveled, if it ever comes.
We're missing
we got Dorian.
We're missing Dorian here.
I don't have a ton to say about it. That's probably why we're bringing him up last.
Right. Not a whole ton to say. I mean, he did have his little bar. He tried to do some performing, got laughed at in the fire. What's the bar called? This Fire by Fire.
Fire by Fire, Fire by Spire.
Got laughed at a little bit.
He did. Yeah, he got cajoled. Is that the word?
Yeah, he did some. What else did he do? He did some in combat. He did some things. I think there's a little bit of shell shock going on there. He's starstruck by the rest of the table. Sure. I mean, with EXU, he was playing with a couple of other newbies and whatever. But this is the big show. The big show.
Yeah, this is the first time with Matthew, the big right? Leads,
and the first time with Matt as a DM. And I think there was a fair bit of starstruckedness going on there with Robbie. And I don't mean in the terms of like in awe of the other players, but more in awe of the game. Maybe a little bit, but more, I think, in awe of the game, because these guys have been playing together for thousands of hours now.
Yeah.
And
like joining a band, it's like, hey, you want to drum for us? Like, sorry, what's your name, Doug?
What do you do? So I think there's a little bit of that going on, and that led him to sort of,
and he did come forward a few times, like at the, in the tavern, like he was like, this is a good time to come out. Other than that, he's kind of like, just, all right, you guys go ahead. This is fucking cool to watch.
Sure.
You got the front row seats to that show, man. Fucking lucky son of a bitch. But he earned it. Yeah. He earned it. He's right up there.
Yeah, so that's our list of characters there. We got Orem, Fern, Dorian, Laudna, Imogen, Ashton, Fresh Cut fucking Grass, and Sir Bertram Bell. I mean, that's the 8. God, that's a big table.
I know. How does Matt do that, dude? I mean, Bertrand's going to die. Robbie, they're going to find that person and he's going to leave.
Yeah. So, right. So that's the sort of what our perceived,
our prediction.
A prediction, right?
Yeah.
That Sir Bertram's going to disappear. Robbie's going to go on his way. And then Travis will come back as the 7th member of the unnamed adventure.
If Bertrand doesn't die, I think Bertrand understands he's done, when this next episode starts, I'm not going to spoil anything, but when at the start of the next episode, I think Bertrand's going to maybe get a wake up call. He's going to be okay. And then I think he's going to be like, I stepped in too deep, perhaps.
Yep.
And he'll make up some
he even
excuse.
said,
He's like, "Oh, I need to go back. They're asking me about being Tal'Dorei
yeah.
cancel or something."
he's a talent scout, right? Like he's like that orc that they're just at the end of the episode with. Again, another spoiler. If you're not paying attention, or if you're here, you're still here. You don't care about spoilers anymore.
Yeah.
That orc that they're going to fight in that at the end of that first episode, or maybe fight. Who knows? I think I think you're right. I think Bertram's going to be like, I'm out. This is not for me.
After the fight,
don't want any part of this. Yeah. Maybe he dies in the fight. Who knows?
Yeah, I mean, Travis was trying to fucking kill him, dude. I remember when he came out and he was still alive. Who was it? I think it was Scanlan that was like, "You were fucking brave." Like, you really were. He jumped right in there and he's like, "I'm going in." Started hacking at the thing's ankles. It's like, holy shit, dude. That's
but that was a whole lot of Travis going, please kill this.
Yeah, because Grog's coming up. Let's get him out of
here. Grog's coming. I know Grog is coming.
He embraced that pretty well though when Bertram was still alive, and then he was Grog again. God, that was a hell of a live episode.
Yeah, dude. That was one of the epic live shows that they put on.
The way Travis, I don't want to spoil it. You know, there'd be a worthless.
The whole episode was Search for Grog, and then the one after that was Search for Bob. But the Search for Grog episode was just amazing. Like it was all about Travis. The whole thing was about Travis from start to finish.
Yeah, the way that culminated, if you remember, boy. I watched that over and over again. I was, in like excited tears on my fucking balcony, like no one to cheers. Like, God damn it.
So good. So good.
Yeah. And go back and check that out. Search for Grog. You don't need to know anything else. You can just check that one out. It's a live episode. Those ones are always
live good. Show. That's just one of the best live shows. I mean, they are all divas, all the entire crew. They love the stage. They're all theater nerds, all of them. So that when they get their live shows are things of beauty. They get onto stage and they ham it the fuck up.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, Sam, even just Sam aside in his ridiculous costumes, the rest of them love the stage. They love it so much. Maybe Matt, not so much as much as the others, but even he does still love it.
Yeah, I think Matt gets the like we do when we're on a stage, we get to hide behind a set of drums. Even if you're singing backups like I do, I'm still hiding behind a set of drums. I'm not up there
it's a shield.
The front person like singing my lyrics into a microphone, and I can see the people right there. I think Matthew gets to hide behind the thing. He gets to listen and watch and observe, and then every now and then. Well, of course, he's the star of the show, really, because he's the one with fucking 30 characters, and different voices for everybody. I like what you did there. It's a very good analogy that drummers are the dungeon master. I like it. yeah. We're the backbone. We're the most important part.
There, absolutely. Hey, I got one more point if I can bring up on my list of things.
Sure. Yeah.
The setting, the setting for campaign 3, Marquette.
Oh, like Marquette. Yeah.
The continent. I mean, we previously. In campaign 1 and campaign 2, they had visited campaign 1. Vox Machina had visited Marquette, but only Ank'Harel. And it was brief. It wasn't brief. There was a brief arc there, and then they left. Yeah. The Mighty Nine heard about Marquette a little bit, but the only information we really had about the entire continent as a whole was that it was similar to Australia, mostly desert. Mostly uninhabitable, and not a very nice place, but mostly lived inhabited by monsters and nomads and a couple of shining posts of civilization.
Yeah, Australia, Mad Max. Yeah.
They completely 180'd that. If you remember what Matt said at the very beginning, the desert is about 30% of the continent. Just the heart, with canyons and mountain ranges and I think the way he described it, it's the desert is encaged by a mountain range, but the rest of it is jungles and coastal cities.
I didn't expect that. I expected dunes everywhere. Yeah, but now there's a jungle underneath these spires.
Yes, it's crazy, right? Like the city of Dressar is like. We only heard, I wrote them down. They start in the core spot. No, not true. They start in Marisha and Laura start in the Airy Spire, which is where the Starpoint Conservatory is. But then they head over to They head over. This is what I do. They head over to the core spire, which is where Fresh Cut Grass and Ashton are, and that's where the Spire by Fire Inn is, and that's where the majority of it happens.
That's the
They also mention the smallest spire being the industrial spire, where all industry is. They didn't give a name for that one, but that leaves 2 spires that we know nothing about, which is fascinating. I love that kind of mystery. We don't know what they're called yet. We don't know anything about it, and it's cool. Very, very cool artwork too, by the way, that's out there about those spires.
Oh yeah. And the ones to really check out are the ones that like Matthew shares, because he's like, that is what I was picturing, you know. Right, and he's of course he's the judge, the jury, you know, for that whole thing. And I hope this is not a spoiler, but man, 1 or 2 of those or all of those towers are coming down, man. I hope that's not a spoiler, but I'm just like, dude, like, come on, you know.
There's a like a right up. So I
on moment, you know. Is there going to be what was it? Zadash? No, Rexentrum. Where did that tower fall? Zadash?
Zadash, the Auber Spire.
Like, is there going to be one of those moments, and is it going to be the fucking?
It didn't fall though. It didn't fall. They kept they
caught it.
Ormond Haas, or the other mage that was there. I forget, the Cerberus Assembly mage. They
somebody from Taldorle was there, I think. The board member, council member, I believe they said that she was there.
Really?
I believe she said that she was there. Maybe not.
Oh man,
fuck, I don't remember now.
Details.
Essek, Yusa, one of them was there. They recognized someone's things. They're like, you definitely saw those robes there with like a high perception roll.
I think it might have been Trent then. It might have been Trent, or it might have been
I don't remember. Fuck, that's just an episode
I'm just watching these. So I just finished the Briarwood arc of campaign 1, and it leads into the attack, right? Like the next episode, or the like, I think the Briarwood arc goes to 38, and then 39 is like a shopping episode, or just a chill out one. Then, or something like that, 39 or 40, 38, 39, 40, somewhere in there. That's when the Chroma Conclave attack happens on Iman. And there's a funny thing right at the very end of that, when Thordak fucks up Iman badly. Like Voragil lands on Allura's tower.
That's probably what
destroys it. Completely destroys it. And the cast all look at Matt, and they're like, Matt, you just destroyed your city. What he's like, yeah, I just destroyed something I love. I don't know how I feel about that. Like, there's this moment of where he's just like, yeah, I destroyed this thing I just built. It's this look of wonder on his face that he's just like, because he was planning it. But until I think it was one of those moments, like, I'm planning this. I've written all this out. But in the moment when it actually happens, I don't think he was expecting the little bit of emotion of like, holy shit, I am a god. I can do whatever I want here. And I don't know how I feel about that. It's very strange.
Yeah, I don't know if he registered that yet until they kind of said it to him. He's like, huh, yeah. It's a very Fight Club moment for him, you know.
It really is.
That was a great episode, because things were like winding down, especially for Vax, if you remember. You know, there was like, what now? Like, I don't get it. Like, why?
There was some moments
Matthew
where
was
he was
like,
questioning.
just wait. I think it was in the episode of Talks, perhaps after that. I don't know if Talks is that's too early for Talks.
Too early for Talks. They didn't.
I think in the campaign wrap up or Vox Machina so far, it was one of those where he was like, just hold on, just one more. I think he discloses that at that point.
Yeah, probably.
Hey, listen, I've tapped my little things. I've got one more little thing though.
Yep.
Is one thing that I'm fucking stoked about for this fucking show, especially now I get to enjoy it with you and anybody else who wants to get in touch, is there is so much to look forward to in this thing. I'm not trying to sell it. I'm not working for these fuckers. It's just so much to look forward to. Travis is whatever happens with him and his characters. Robbie as well, you know, like, because the things are going to get smaller. Who the fuck Travis is going to be, if he's going to be Bertrand Bell, I really don't think so. And then these other 2 spires, you know, and like there's this whole other continent. Like, what does this orc have to do with anything in the grander scheme? That doesn't have to have anything to do with the grander. There's just so many things that there's so many predictions. If you go on Reddit, you're going to find like thousands of people just being like, I think maybe this. which is a game I
Reddit
don't
is the
play.
ultimate source for all things Critical Role and all predictions and all everything. It's just stuffed full of the wildest conspiracy theories and nonsense, mostly positive, mostly positive.
Yes, I should say that
but
after all that negative shit that I was saying.
yeah, Reddit has its goods and pros and cons, goods and bads, but mostly the mods do a really good job of weeding out the chaff, the trash.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you know my
Spoilers.
theory on Travis. I think he's going to play a melee class. I think he's going to play a Warforged. I have this idea that he's going to play a Dwarven Warforged cleric. That's my prediction. It's a very narrow view, but I have a feeling that's what he's going to do. I don't know.
Yeah, that's why I don't play that prediction game, because for
I
one, I don't want to be right. And for two, I feel like if I put it out there, then it's going to be, what's that rule? Murphy's Law? If you think of it, or what's that law where it's like, if you try to premeditate anything that could happen, then they won't happen or something like that. Yeah, Murphy's Law, Occam's razor. It's some term for it. So that's why I just stay away from it. I'll listen to them and I'll read them, but I don't do my own. Just like watching movies, watching shows. I don't try to guess the ending.
Yep.
Because if I do, well, fuck, I could have written that. Or if I don't get it right, I failed the puzzle. So I just stay out of that game. I put no dogs in that race.
Yeah, I don't know. I know me. I like playing the game. I like trying to figure out what they're all going to do. And for the weeks leading up to this, I've been trying to figure out what the characters, and they all really surprised me. I didn't see the EXU cast coming in. I didn't see Sam playing a robot cleric at all.
Nobody did.
Taliesin, I kind of thought he might play a fighter. Maybe I thought he might be a paladin, so I wasn't far off with that prediction of a barbarian. Marisha and Laura surprised the fuck out of me. I was not expecting sorcerer or warlock. But so yeah, I even with all my predictions, I maybe got one like close.
Yeah.
It's just a fun game for me. That's what I like playing.
I was pretty sure Matt was going to be the DM again.
That's a good call.
Stupid call. On that note.
Yeah. So I guess, oh man, it's
how do we end an episode? This is the first time we're ending an episode. We're going to be here next week. Yeah, we'll be here next week because there's another episode is airing next week. So we'll be here on the following Tuesday and just chatting it up.
If my calculations are right, we have 5 more episodes to go in a row, because they're saying there's 2 this month and then there's 3 next month. They're taking the last Thursday of every month off. So it looks like we got 5 in a row here. And
that means that we might take that week off in case if things are happening, this is the only thing we do. We might take that week off too, but maybe not, once again, I've got this fucking book full of shit that I could talk about.
We could recap the past 5 weeks, what we probably could do.
Yeah. And if we end up getting maybe some comments or some questions, we could talk about that shit too.
Yeah. So right on that note, if you think anything that we said is bullshit, or you agree completely, or you just want to call us on our bullshit, then please down there. That's what you do. Just like and subscribe and comment and whatever you do. I don't know. How are we on the internet? I don't even know how this works.
Not yet, but we'll get there soon.
I have no idea what's going on.
I'll try to get that.
I just love Critical Role, and it's all I want to do is just watch and talk about it for.
We've got so much to look forward to. This long as we have no idea when the last episode is. So it's like probably over 100 episodes. Probably.
Listen, campaign 1 was 115. Campaign 2 was 141. Let's see if they can hit 200 for campaign 3.
We'll see.
That seems like a nice milestone. I'd like to see that.
Yeah. First player death. I mean, man, there's so much to. If there are any,
I can't wait.
Lots of things to get into.
Delicious moments.
All right. So
hey, let's say goodnight.
Yeah, sure. Sounds good. We'll be back here next week. Get in touch.
We'll be back here next week, and just do your thing down below, and keep watching. We'll be here.
Sounds good. All right, Ben. Hey, you take care of yourself.
Yeah. Don't forget to love each other.
Hey, yeah. Don't forget to love each other. Sure.
There's some of those catchphrases I think we should say. That's one of them.
Oh, sure. Yeah, no problem. All right. Well, we'll see you next week then, Ben.
Yeah. Night, Tim.
All right. Take care.
Take it easy, bro.